Hey guys, Zomfox here, and today we're going to be talking about Dallas Cowboys kicker Brandon Aubrey, who just broke the NFL record for most 50-yard field goals in a single season. There's a lot to talk about this, okay? First and foremost is people do know who had the record, don't realize when that guy set the record and why it's so crazy that Aubrey's doing this, and that it technically might not even be him by the end of the year. So, there's a lot to talk about, but let's just get right into it with his performance against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers yesterday on the 22nd of December, 2024. I mean, bro, the meme was that if your opponent had a kicker in fantasy that was Brandon Aubrey, you lost. He kicked not one, not two, but three 50-yard field goals, with two of them coming in the first half from 58 yards. This is very reminiscent to that other Sunday Night Football game he had, where he kicked like it was a 61 or a 60-yarder as well as a 59-yarder, which had never been done before, kicking two kicks that long in one game or something like that. And then Aubrey kicked two 58-yarders in this game, as well as another 50-yard plus and another 40-plus yard field goal. He went 6 for 6 in total kicks and was, you could argue, the biggest or the second biggest reason the Cowboys won. I know CD had like a really solid game. Cooper did his thing. Deron Bland had that, takeaway at the end of the game. But overall, Aubrey really was the best player on Dallas. I mean, come on. He kicked two 58-yard field goals in a single game. Insane. This is easily one of the best kicking performances we've seen in a pretty long time when you consider that. I mean, some would say this is like the best kicking performance we've seen distance-wise since Aubrey did it last year. I mean, look, we've seen a lot of great performances, right? Chris Boswell's had a couple insane games this year, and some other guys have as well, but this is definitely one of the better ones. And this, as well as a stat we're going to get to in a second, have pretty much elevated Aubrey back into that all-pro conversation, which, while a lot of people still viewed him as an elite kicker, he kind of played himself out of that all-pro selection, and now has kind of played his way back into it. So the former Birmingham Stallion kicker just broke the record for most 50-yarders in a single season. That record was held by Ka'imi Fairbairn of the Houston Texans, who broke that record a couple weeks ago. Yeah, I don't know why it feels like all these sites are saying this like Fairbairn hit this like 3 years ago. Fairbairn broke this record earlier this year. He is currently at 13 50-yard plus kicks. Now, the biggest difference is that accuracy-wise, Aubrey is better at 14 of 16 versus the 13 of 16, which includes the 70-yarder that Aubrey missed but did attempt. So, if we're being completely honest, it's more like 14 of 15 since the 70-yarder's never been hit. That's like the Janikowski kick that one year. Overall, Aubrey's been a much better distance kicker in that sense in terms of 50-yard plus. I know 40 to 49, right? Fairbairn's only had 5 attempts and missed one of them, whereas Aubrey's missed 2, but he's kicked 15 of them, so technically Aubrey's better there. Point is, Aubrey has the record as of now, but this is a record that could end up being tied or could go to one of them. Look, both guys have played every game in the season. There's still 2 games left to play. Neither team is really playing for anything at this point. The Texans, I'm pretty sure, are pretty much locked in their seed right now, and then the Cowboys are eliminated and are just, playing for spirit kind of thing, right? Playing to get a worse draft pick. But the point is that this is a record that is very much still up for grabs across both guys. 50-yard kicks are becoming more and more common for teams that have a kicker that they can, well, trust, like these two teams. Yes, Fairbairn's missed a couple of shorter kicks, but overall from distance, both of these two guys are two of the most accurate kickers in the league. Obviously, the stats prove it. The record before this was like 11. I believe it was like Daniel Carlson. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that's who kicked it like 11 a few years ago for the Raiders. And then Fairbairn broke it and kept breaking it. But then Aubrey did it in prime time by kicking 3 50-yard plus field goals. So, again, the question is going to be exactly who finishes with it. Now, other records is that Aubrey's 23 of 25 is the highest we've seen in NFL history. Now, if I'm not mistaken, this was taken at a different time, this tweet and all that. The point is like, some of this was... The point is that Aubrey has the record for best accuracy of 50-yard kicks in the first 2 years. I mean, they showed this graphic where they showed his percentage on, like, the first kick, pretty much, that he kicked from 58 yards. And he also has, like, the record for most 55-yard field goals in a single season this year. He's kicked multiple 60-yarders, which I covered in my short. The point is he's breaking record after record after record for this team and for the league. So Aubrey's played his way back into that all-pro conversation. At this point, it looks pretty much like a guarantee it's going to be Boswell and Aubrey, Bates has kind of played his way out of it because over the last like 4 weeks he's missed 3 field goals, so his average has dropped a lot, especially because earlier in the season he wasn't kicking a ton. Whereas Aubrey kind of got over that midseason little slump and has the overall highlights and records to kind of go above it. Again, he kicked the second longest field goal in NFL history earlier this year. He attempted a 70-yarder, and people want to see him do it again. So, this point, I mean, it's crazy. But again, as for spring football, right, this is another example of it working. Brandon Aubrey is still the poster child for spring football success in the ultra-modern spring football era, of course. The numbers he's putting up, I mean, we're talking about Aubrey having the potential to be a Hall of Famer, which sounds crazy for a kicker, right, especially considering that there's so few in the Hall of Fame. But as of now, he is on a Hall of Fame trajectory. He is breaking record after record after record. He broke so many rookie records, including distance ones, and now is doing it again. I believe he's also like the first player to have back-to-back 10-plus 50-yard field goals in a season. I think that's something else the Cowboys point out. Like, the amount of records he's breaking or hitting or marks he's setting are just insane. And this is a guy who went from never playing football to just playing spring football for 2 years with the Stallions to what he's doing now with the Cowboys. And if you include his time with the Stallions, I mean, it just makes his career even better. So, there's not really much more to say. It's just pretty obvious that we had to talk about what Brandon Aubrey did yesterday and the records he's breaking and has broken and will continue to potentially break. I mean, it's all possible to end the season with like 16 or 17 50-yard field goals. I mean, hell, if he does this 2 more times, he'll hit 20, which I doubt would happen, but I wouldn't be too shocked if it did, you know? But that'll do it. This has been Zom Fox. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell to be notified as soon as I upload any videos. I will be going away on vacation during the post-Christmas time for about like a week-ish or a little less than a week. I'll put out a community post about it, so I know the UFL schedule is coming out like during that. I might have a vid the day it comes out, like the second one on New Year's Eve, but it might be on the 1st. I don't know. I have a couple videos planned, but be on the lookout for those. And as always, guys, have a great night.